Sri Lankan Provincial Council system was established consequent to the Indo-Lanka Accord signed between the two countries in 1987. Following that, the 13th Amendment to the Constitution was introduced, along with laws that enabled the establishment of the provincial councils in Sri Lanka. To implement the understandings reached through the said international accord and the 13th Amendment, the Sri Lankan government adopted Parliamentary Act called PC Act. Parliamentary Bill. Provincial Councils Act No. 42 of 1987 containing the provisions in relation to the structures, processes, procedures that are applicable to the provincial council system in accordance with the constitutional arrangements enumerated under the 13th Amendment was introduced by the Parliament. As some adversaries of the PC system suggest, scrapping the PC system is not a solution in the current context. Due to the intimidating politics, it would be the hardest experiment to introduce a new power-sharing model through a constitutional amendment. Such an effort would definitely lead to an opening of a Pandora's box that would lead to more complexities and probably towards a failure rather than any success in achieving a meaningful power-sharing model. The current PC system is an extension of the executive presidential system to the periphery. Therefore, it can be identified as a novel model of deconcentration of powers by the executive along with delegation of powers by the parliament to make statutes. In real statutory terms, the governor can be considered as the chief executive, finance minister and chief development administrator of the province. In such a context, the executive role of the chief minister and board of ministers as well as the legislative ability of the council is severely curtailed, and they have only a modest role in provincial political and development administration. Nonetheless, irrespective of these inherent setbacks in the structural formation of the provincial council system, still it can be contended that there is a room to improve the system instead of throwing the baby with the bathwater, as it were. Proposal to amend the Provincial Council Act, No. 42 of 1987. Therefore, strengthening the procedural powers of the provincial councils while removing the overlapping procedures and address existing lacuna in the Provincial Council Act in accordance with the existing constitutional framework of the 13th Amendment. Why is this amendment needed? Rationale for proposed amendments to the Section 02. 1. Supporting the achievements of the political objectives behind the setting up of the provincial council system. 2. Ensure the horizontal link between the provincial councils, district-level development coordination and local governance with a view of a new line of thinking of the government to set up district development councils and the Janasabha system. This amendment is introduced as a means of enhancing the efficiency of the second and third-tier governance of the country. 3. Role of the local governments which are constitutionally functioning under the PC system is admitted and highlighted. 4. New thinking behind the Janasabha which is meant to participatory planning is connected with the PC system. Rationale for proposed amendments to the Section 03 and 04. 1. To remove the existing confusion over the implementation of the existing legislative powers over the PC system conferred by the Constitution. Rationale for proposed amendments to the Section 05, 06 and 07. 1. Introduce conflict resolution processes and structures to overcome possible legislative making conflicts and policy implementation conflicts between the center and the periphery. Why is this amendment needed? Rationale to proposes a deletion of section and proposing new section replacing the Section 11. 1. Existing section will hamper the proposed power-sharing arrangements if it is allowed to stand as it is. 2. There is no point in having legislative powers with the Council if the Council is asked to get the approval of the President for exercising the law-making power of the Council. 3. Provincial councils need a new set of rules and procedures to increase its decision-making efficiency. Why is this amendment needed? 1. Streamline the governor's powers vested with provincial executive and the implementation powers in relation to development administration within the province. 2. There is a need to mitigate the weaknesses shown by the provincial council system due to the fact that the governor is functioning as a figurehead that holds the delegated powers of the president. 3. The existing provincial council system has to be transformed from its model of deconcentration of the president's executive powers and/or delegation of executive powers of the president to the governor into a meaningful power-sharing model within the existing constitution framework. 4. These amendments are proposed as a meaningful, minimalist decision-making mechanism for the executive branch of the Provincial Council while keeping an equilibrium between the existing constitutional arrangements and need of political legitimacy and efficiency of the PC system to transform existing system into a functioning provincial council system. Why is this amendment needed? 1. This kind of institutional setup is needed for the maintenance of an efficient provincial governance model as well as to maintain efficient center-periphery relations. Strengthening of the PC system as a middle tier of government. Why is this amendment needed? 1. The quality of governance within the provincial council system in Sri Lanka depends significantly on its fiscal devolution processes. 2. Increasing the provincial council's sources of income and development prospects are essential to the strengthening of the PC system. 3. It is important to streamline and strengthen the existing fiscal devolution arrangements within the given inherent weak fiscal devolution framework introduced by the 13th Amendment to the Constitution. 4. Remove the lacunas of the existing Section 19 in relation to allocation, collection and disbursements of provincial finances. 5. In this regard, vertical links between Parliament and the PC system has to be established through legislative enactments. 6. The role of the Finance Commission is established on centre-peripheral fiscal relations and fiscal management within the province. 7. The link between the consolidated fund of the country and the provincial fund should be clearly established. 8. Streamline the custodianship of the provincial fund and increase the ownership of the provincial fund. Why is this amendment needed? Rationale for amending Section 20. 1. To enhance the ownership and accountability of the central and provincial executive branch when disbursement is taking place from the emergency fund. Why introducing new section after Section 20? Chief Minister's Fund. The Chief Minister and the Provincial Cabinet needs a financial source to run day-to-day development affairs of the province. This fund has to be managed under strict accountability principles which are introduced by the provincial statute, and financial monitoring is vested under the Finance Commission. Why is this amendment needed? 1. Ensure the provincial decision-making in development needs. 2. Increasing the financial strength of the province. 3. To ensure macro-financial stability of the country while ensuring to secure provincial development needs. 4. Establish the link between the consolidated fund and the provincial fund. Why is this amendment needed? 1. To enhance the development capabilities of the province, provincial councils should be given the opportunity to seek foreign grants under the scrutiny of the central government. Why is this amendment needed? 1. Legislative power including making financial statutes of the provincial councils should primarily vested with the council. 2. These amendments are proposed to maintain the equilibrium between governors' power of making statutes as provisioned by the constitutions and council's generic power of statute making. Why is this amendment needed? 1. The proposed amendment is proposed to ensure the accountability of the provincial government. Why is this amendment needed? 1. The proposed amendments are introduced to ensure the accountability, financial efficiency and productivity of the provincial government. Why is this amendment needed? 1. To ensure the line of authority within the provincial development administration by the provincial government. 2. To ensure the efficiency of the provincial development administration. 3. To maintain an equilibrium between the powers of the governor and provincial government. Why is this amendment needed? 1. To ensure the line of authority within the provincial council and board of ministers over the provincial administration. 2. To ensure budgetary management within the province on recurrent expenditure of the province. 3. To ensure the efficiency of the provincial development administration. 4. To link the provincial administration needs with the macro-level administration needs of the country. 5. To maintain an equilibrium between the powers of the governor and provincial government. Why is this amendment needed? To ensure the checks balances of provincial decision-making with more accountability.